What's up, Internet? Welcome to Once Over. I'm Kaylee, and today we're going to be giving the once over to all of the things that I bought at the 50% off the Criterion Collection sale. My wallet hurts.
Shut up and take my money.
Give it a good once over.
Giving us the once over.
Giving him the once over.
Give me a once over.
Down to give us the once over.
For a routine once over.
Once over.
Oh, just once over lightly.
If you're familiar with my channel, then you know that this is a little bit different than what I usually do because I usually do movie reviews, not talk about all the things that I bought. But I was just so excited about everything with the Criterion Collection, I could not help but make this. If it is your first time here and you haven't met me before, hi, I'm Kaylee. You should definitely check out some of my movie reviews. I put them out weekly and there's some exciting stuff out there. And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's start out with what is the Criterion Collection. Chances are you already know that because chances are if you are here, it is because you are a film buff. But Criterion is basically a distribution company that works really hard to put out important films, both contemporary and older stuff, in the best format that they can possibly be released in. They release things in 4K, some Blu-rays, the quality is amazing, and all of the supplemental materials that they have are really awesome, so you get a lot of like interviews and features within the actual discs themselves. So why am I buying Criterion right now? Well, that's because Barnes & Noble is doing their 50% off of the entire Criterion Collection sale right now. I was so excited. There's so much stuff that I want to own that I just am unwilling to because it costs a lot of money to get all these great features. So I went a little bit crazy and I got 12 movies, not including a box set that I haven't gotten yet, but it's on the way. It's the Godzilla Showa era box set. I'm so excited about it. What do I have in my hands today? Well, we have 12 movies, 10 of which I have seen, 2 of which I have never seen before. I would love to know what you are planning on buying from Criterion, and I would also love to know any of your recommendations for stuff that I didn't buy, but I probably should, because let's be honest, I'm probably not done shopping. I went a little crazy with Akira Kurosawa stuff. I love Kurosawa as a director. I actually took a class about Kurosawa and all of his films when I was in college. It was one of the only film classes that I took because I was actually a math and economics major.
The sum of the square roots of any two sides of an isosceles triangle is equal to the square root of the remaining side.
That's a right triangle, you idiot.
Very different than what I usually do, but it is where I learned a lot about film, about filmmaking, and about how extremely talented Kurosawa actually is. Most people already knew that, but I learned it. So what did I get? The first Kurosawa film that I picked up was High and Low. High and Low came out in 1963, and it is definitely a little bit different than most Kurosawa films. High and Low is about a kidnapping, and it is not based on Shakespeare. It does have one thing in common with a lot of Kurosawa films though, and that is that Mifune stars in it. There's a lot of social commentary in this drama that holds up and stands the test of time, and this was one that I really feel like I needed to add to my collection. But I think that a lot of people might have missed this one. It's definitely not in his like more famous repertoire. It's not Rashomon, it's not Ron, it's not Throne of Blood, which is another one that I got. This is probably in my top 2 Kurosawa films. The third one is my favorite. I love this. This is based upon Othello, and it also stars Mifune, and it came out in 1957. Mifune delivers what I would call an animalistic, almost perfect performance in this film. And if you haven't seen it, you absolutely must. This is Shakespeare, but it is also super westerny.
My name is Sheriff.
Lisa Simpson.
I sure am hungry for my favorite food.
McNuggets.
I don't like McNuggets. I'm a vegetarian.
Stew?
Many people know that Kurosawa was a huge inspiration for things like Star Wars, and this is where we get that idea of melding a Western with Japanese, with Shakespeare, with all of the fucking things. All of the goddamn things are in this movie. Everything that you could possibly want is in this movie. Next, I picked up my favorite Kurosawa film, which is Stray Dog. What's that? You haven't heard of this one? Why has nobody seen this movie? Have you guys seen this one? This is a movie that I probably would not have watched if it wasn't for that film class, and boy am I glad that I did. This came out in 1949, and so to be able to see the post-war Japan view of the universe through a crime drama where Mifune plays a rookie cop is really something special. There is a level of desperation that happens in this film that I don't think happens in very many movies. I am so excited to own this one. This was the main movie that I wanted to get of Kurosawa's. This was like something that I was like, I need this in my collection. Not enough people watch this. I want to be able to lend it out to all of my friends and force people to watch it all the time. You should watch it right now. Moving from Japan over to Hong Kong, In the Mood for Love. I'm made that sound like it was ultra sexy. I mean, it is, but you know, maybe not like how I just said it. This is one of Wong Kar-wai's best films. You might know Wong Kar-wai from his other movies, 2046, Chungking Express. Probably my favorite of his is Happy Together, but I love this movie. This movie showcases longing and lust and love as we get to see a couple who discovers that their significant others actually had an affair with each other. It's probably the least gay of Wong Kar-wai's films. I don't know how I feel about that, but I'm saying it like it's important. It is a discovery of bonding, and Wong Kar-wai does an incredible job of looking into humanity in all of his movies, but especially this one. It stars Tony Leung Chiu-wei, who is of course in tons and tons of other Wong Kar-wai movies, but he was also just recently in Shang-Chi, so you might have seen him there. Moving out of Asia and into the outback, we have the Australian new wave of cinema classic, Picnic at Hanging Rock. This is directed by Peter Weir, and if you have not seen this movie before, you might have actually heard me talking about it on my channel because I actually featured this movie in the 5 movies that you might have missed from 1975 edition. This is the movie that made me fall in love with cinema. Not just like, I love movies, they're fun to watch. This was the first time that I, as a relatively young child, started understanding that there might be more to film than just having a good time. Is it a good time? I don't know if this movie is a good time. That's why I learned from it, right? This is a horror movie, a drama, a little bit of everything. It's stunningly beautiful, and it focuses on a group of young schoolgirls who go missing on a St. Valentine's Day picnic. Haunting is absolutely the way to describe this film. It was a huge, huge part of the Australian new wave of cinema, and I understand why. Also within that category, if you haven't seen Wake in Fright, I also recommend that one a lot. I don't think Criterion put that out. They should be. That movie rules. And we can't talk about the 1970s without talking about Being There. This is another one that I've talked about on my channel recently. You might remember this because I talked about this with producer Chris from Who Are These Podcasts. Being There was directed by Hal Ashby, and of course it stars the amazing Peter Sellers. This movie is Hal Ashby to the extreme. It is absolute social commentary, and it is shockingly fun for being that. Peter Sellers plays Chance, a gardener who becomes known as Chauncey Gardner through a series of unexpected events where people start misunderstanding his naivety for smarts. It's a great comedy, and there are a lot of laugh out loud moments, even though there's also a lot of drama. Now let's move on to yet another comedy, but in a very different way. This one's one that I already actually own on DVD, but I needed the Blu-ray and I needed the Criterion because it looks so beautiful. Look at how gorgeous this copy of Hedvig and the Angry Inch is. I love it. I love you, Hedvig. Hedvig and the Angry Inch came out in 2001, and of course it is written, directed, and starring John Cameron Mitchell. This was John Cameron Mitchell's baby as a stage play, and it was turned into the film in 2001, and it is all about an East German transgender pop star. Rock star? I don't know. I don't know how to define Hedvig. Hedvig is undefinable. In fact, one of the reasons that I love this movie so much is because this movie helps me when I am having those days where I'm like, oh my god, I'm having an identity crisis. Who the fuck am I? What the hell is happening? Existential everything. Ooh, this movie saves me from that. In my opinion, there are not a lot of films that discuss identity in the same way that this movie does, and this movie just nails it. Hedvig gives up a little piece of herself, 5 inches of herself to be exact, in an attempt to move from Germany before the fall of the Berlin Wall to the United States. And she struggles with her identity after that. I think this is a fun comedy musical that is just perfect. It gives me the feels. You don't have to be struggling with gender identity to be able to understand the messages in this one. It's just for people who struggle. So again, I already owned this on DVD. Is it the most stunningly beautiful movie of all time? No. Did I need it on Blu-ray? Probably not. But I literally could not resist this frickin' packaging. Come on. Criterion is infamous for this sort of stuff, and this is what makes us spend the boku bucks on this crap that I don't need. But look at how wonderful it is. So this design here, this is actually a cape that Hedvig wears in the movie, and I actually made that for my ex-husband for him to wear for Halloween. I was very, very proud of that Halloween costume. I made him a Hedvig wig also. It was really cool. And of course we got this little booklet with the bishop himself itself that is just completely full of amazing artwork, behind the scenes pictures. There's also a little bit of Plato's Symposium in here, which of course is what the song Origin of Love is based on. I think this booklet is great. Next we have yet another movie that talks at least a little bit about the Berlin Wall. It is After Hours. You might recognize this 1985 Scorsese film, again, because maybe you've seen it, but also you might have seen it on my channel because I've already given this movie the once over. I love this movie. Griffin Dunne is outstanding in this. This is another existential dread movie. Oh, can you see a theme? I like them. After I saw this movie for the first time, I literally had to stop everything that I was doing. I called my boss and I was like, hey, I need to take tomorrow off of work because I need to go get a tattoo from this movie that I just saw. And I did. I think that this movie is stunningly perfect. And I can't believe that I didn't even previously own it. I feel like as Scorsese films go, this one, again, it gets a little bit looked over. It doesn't even really... yeah, it does feel like a Scorsese film, but not entirely. Something feels different about this one. New York City is very much a character in this movie that is very much a nightmarish attempt to get home after a night in Soho. After Hours. Yeah, we get it. This is another one that I really, really, really love the little bonus stuff that we get. So inside, if we open it up, you can see, look, it's the little poster that's from the movie. I love this poster. And I just think that this little booklet is stunning. So let's check it out. So this whole thing is yellow. Yellow is a color that gets featured very heavily in After Hours, and I'm actually not even sure why. I actually talked about that in my review of this film, which will be linked down below. You should go check it out when you're done here. But I actually can't figure out what the symbolism of yellow is. It's interesting to me that obviously that was picked up on the packaging by Criterion Collection as well. And I also love that within the box, look, that's my tattoo. Look, it's a shark biting a dick off. Two of my favorite things. Now we'll move into something a little bit more modern that came out in 2022. Triangle of Sadness. Can we just talk about how funny this movie is? Because I really wanna. I had to pause this movie when I was first watching it, and I literally ran around my apartment going, what the fuck? During the scene, you know the scene if you've seen the movie, because I was literally so shocked, and it was so much fun. It was perfectly done, amazing. This is a movie about status obsession that takes place on a cruise ship. What could possibly go wrong for the rich and elite while they are on a lovely cruise? I thought that this movie was gonna be something like Bermuda Triangle related, triangle, cruise ship. I was so pleasantly surprised. The first movie that I saw by this director, Ruben Östlund, was actually Force Majeure, and I loved that as well. He has a knack for doing weird, uncomfortable, beautiful, and disgusting stuff. He understands humanity in a way that I think that a lot of people do not, and I think that as a director, that is an absolute necessity. Next up, we have the last of the movies that I have seen before we get into the two movies that I have not seen. This is the whole reason that I went to go buy stuff from Criterion, because this is a new release. They actually just released this year, and it is Peeping Tom. Peeping Tom is probably in my top 4 movies of all time. This came out in 1960, and it directly competed with Hitchcock's Psycho. This was directed by Michael Powell, and obviously, we all know that Psycho won out on that battle. However, in my opinion, this is a way better thriller, horror, mystery, everything, suspense. I love it. You might be familiar with the director Michael Powell. He has done a lot of work also with Pressburg, so things like The Red Shoes. And right now I think Scorsese is actually making a documentary about the two of them doing filmmaking together. But Peeping Tom was actually only directed by Powell. This is the best movie about voyeurism. I love voyeurism in film because when we talk about being a voyeur, I, as a film watcher, am in a sense a voyeur. So it feels very meta and interesting, and like I'm being looked at because I'm being told that I'm looking at the things and the looking and everywhere. I love you, Peeping Tom. This movie is about a killer photographer who is doing the things to women while he confronts his past. The mechanics of fear and violence that exist within this film, I think, are second to none. I'm terrified when I watch this one. There are images from this film that still have not left my head because they are just burned into my memory, haunting me at all times. I love a good horror movie, especially one that stands the test of time like this one did. Lastly, we have our 2 movies that I have not seen before. I totally blind bought these. I bought them because of the packaging. I'm excited to check them out. You have to let me know if you've seen them so that I know if they're good or not. They look really good. I'm so excited to watch them. So what are these 2 movies? I got The Servant and The Celebration. We're gonna talk about The Servant first. This movie came out in 1963. I know nothing about it. I like to know nothing before I go into movies. Why did I get this movie? I got it because the packaging reminds me an awful lot of the Peeping Tom packaging. Right? Doesn't it feel a little similar? Are we using the same font? I don't know. Something feels very similar about these 2 movies to me. And I think that it is going to be because I believe that this is another thriller, suspense sort of movie from the 1960s. I am expecting it to be a little bit Hitchcocky. I am expecting it to be a little bit Peeping Tommy, but I don't want to read anything about it to find out because I really like to go into movies blind. This was directed by Joseph Lousy. There's no possible good way to describe his last name. I don't know what it is. He is somebody that I have not heard of. So again, this was a risk. I have seen that it is rated very highly, and I know that Criterion would not steer me wrong, so I am excited to check it out, but I know nothing about it. And then the last movie that I got, which again I have not seen, is The Celebration. I do know a little bit about this movie, even though I haven't seen it, so a lot of people misremember that this Dogme 95 film was directed by Lars von Trier, but it was not. It is in fact a Winterberg movie. It is Dogme 95. If you're not familiar with Dogme 95, it is the idea of filming without changing the surroundings of how you are filming. So for example, when you're a little kid and you're making a little movie, you can only use whatever props are in the room that you're in. That is one of the pillars of Dogme 95. That is one of the rules that you must follow in order to be Dogme 95. This was a movement that was created in Copenhagen in 1995, and a lot of directors were a part of it, and I think it's a really interesting movement. Even though I've seen a lot of Dogme movies, I have never seen this one, so I am really excited. This one is kind of the pillar of the movement, in all honesty. I don't know how it's escaped me all of these years, but it has. This one got me entirely because of the packaging. Look at the packaging, you guys. It's so minimalist. Do you not love this? Come on, look. It's just the booklet and then it's a clear freaking thing. It's so stupid, but I love it. The actual packet itself has all the rules of Dogme 95 on it. So the movie that you shot as a kid in your room where you didn't have any other props, that would not be Dogme 95 because it was not shot on 35mm. So this tells you all the rules of what makes something officially Dogme. I don't want to flip through this because I'm afraid that I'm going to get spoilers. No, I might be stopping everything that I'm doing and watching this movie right now. Again, just look how pretty. She's so pretty. All right, so what do you guys think of the 12 movies plus the bonus Godzilla box set that I don't physically have yet that I got on the Criterion 50% off sale? They're all great, right? I'm so excited to watch all of them, especially the 2 that I haven't seen. Are you guys going and spending all of your money at Barnes & Noble this month on the 50% off sale? I'm probably not done shopping yet, so please let me know what you think I missed and what I should definitely pick up. So far, it does not look like the Barnes & Nobles are that picked over yet. I went to a couple of different locations to get this monstrosity of a haul, so I think that there's gonna still be some other stuff that I'm gonna need. Also, please let me know if you liked me doing content like this. I tend to be a little bit of a media hoarder, so I frequently am doing big hauls like this. If you guys wanna see what I am buying, what I'm getting, what I'm adding to my collection, or even if you're just curious about my existing collection, like for example, what 1980s horror movies do you have? I am more than happy to share stuff like that with you. Just let me know what you would like to see. Thanks so much for hanging out for this atypical video, and definitely come and check out some more movie reviews as they are coming out weekly. Thank you guys again for watching, and I can't wait for the next one. Bye. But he was also just recently in Shang-Chi. Fuck, what the fuck?